British Prime Minister David Cameron may hold a referendum on European Union membership earlier than the end of 2017. According to his spokesman speaking on Tuesday, the referendum will take place as soon as a deal is reached with the EU that satisfies conservative demands for major changes in Britain's relationship with the bloc. The comments coincide with the meeting of EU finance ministers in Brussels. Speaking to journalists on arrival at the meeting, British Finance Minister George Osborne insisted that his recently re-elected Conservative government would try to reform the European Union ahead of a planned referendum on British membership of the bloc.
I'm here with a very clear mandate to improve Britain's relationship with the rest of the EU and to reform the EU so that it creates jobs and increases living standards for all its citizens. I don't think anyone's now in any doubt. We will hold that referendum on British membership of the European Union, having conducted these negotiations.
A referendum on Britain's membership of the EU by the end of 2017 was a key plank of the Conservatives' winning manifesto in the British general election last week. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal near the base camp for Mount Everest earlier this morning. The current death toll stands at 37, but it is likely to rise. Tremors from the quake radiated across parts of Asia. In neighboring India, at least 16 people were confirmed dead after rooftops or walls collapsed onto them. Chinese media also reported one death in Tibet. The quake comes just 17 days after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake killed more than 8,000 and injured over 17,000 in Nepal. This second earthquake was shallow, occurring at a depth of 10 kilometers and sent people fleeing from buildings in the capital, Kathmandu. United States Secretary of State John Kerry met with President Vladimir Putin in Russia today in Sochi. The meeting marks the first time a high-ranking American official has visited Russia since the start of the Ukraine crisis in late 2013. Mr. Kerry described the talks as being frank, adding that it is important to keep lines of communication between the U.S. and Russia open to address global issues. The meeting with President Putin followed 4-hour-long talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in the Black Sea resort town. Relations between Moscow and the West have been badly damaged over disagreements surrounding Russia's behavior in Ukraine, Syria, and Iran. Russia and China's first-ever joint naval war games began in the Mediterranean Sea on Monday. The drills will include live-fire exercises and take place over 10 days. The Mediterranean is over 4,500 miles away from the Chinese coast, making it, practically speaking, an unusual venue for the exercises. Taking place in the backyard of Western Europe, it is a provocative move that reveals a powerful new alliance between Russia and China. The war games come after Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Moscow for Victory Day celebrations. The alliance marks a shift away from the West after the United States and European Union placed sanctions on Russia over the Ukraine crisis. Warplanes from the Saudi-led coalition continued their airstrikes targeting the positions of Yemen's Shiite rebels on Tuesday, hours before a ceasefire is set to begin. According to security officials, the airstrikes targeted weapons depots and other military facilities north and south of the capital city, Sana'a. The strike stopped shortly before the arrival in Sana'a of the newly appointed United Nations envoy to Yemen, Ismail Ould Sheikh Ahmed of Mauritania. The envoy is to oversee the humanitarian ceasefire, which will go into effect at 11 p.m. local time and is due to last 5 days. The United States is becoming less Christian, with fewer claiming allegiance to any faith, according to a Pew Research study published today. The study, titled America's Changing Religious Landscape, found that 70.6% of the population claimed to be Christian, down from 78.4% in 2007. The trend is particularly marked among younger Americans, but it is also seen across many segments of American society.